Hey everybody! Welcome to another episode of SoTellUs Time, where we talk about everything business, from professional to even personal. Ups and downs, highs and lows, right? That's the name of the game when it comes to being an entrepreneur. It's funny, my daughter, she's 16, she said to me the other day, she likes nerdy boys. It's just something she's into. She's got these cute football players that like her and stuff, and she's like, oh, they're conceited, and she likes these nerdy boys, but I can't complain. They're smart kids, they work hard, and the funny thing is, they want to be entrepreneurs. Like this one kid, he wants to be an entrepreneur, and she said to me the other day, she goes, I want to marry an entrepreneur someday, Dad. And I said, oh, honey, it's a hard life. It's a hard life. You got to learn to save money for the lows. When you're at the highs, take that money, put it aside, because when the lows come, and they will come up and down, you got to have the money set aside, you know? And it's funny. I mean, over the years, how many youngsters, we've had young guys work for us. They're like, we want to be entrepreneurs. And they'll start out in like sales or something like that with us. And then it's funny. They're like, I don't know if I want to be an entrepreneur anymore. Maybe I should go back to school. You know, it's definitely not the life for everyone. So we are here with SoTellUs Time to help you guys build your business and get through all these different highs and lows and, you know, the good stuff and the bad stuff. But today we're going to be talking about sweat equity. This is a good one for our newbies, the ones wearing all the hats, all the way to the ones who have built big businesses. We have built a really good business. We have multiple businesses. And guess what? We still utilize sweat equity in our business every single day, because we don't always have the budget to pay for people. I mean, we now have where we can afford more things, more people, all this stuff. But there's more to sweat equity than just being able to pay somebody to do it. So Troy, let's jump into what is sweat equity.
Yeah, I want to add to that real quick, Trevor, too, because, you know, like you said, you may have a successful business that you could do. You don't really need to do the work yourself. You can pay somebody to do it. But, you know, a lot of us times we realize in our lives that, you know, we need to figure out the process first, right? We need to make sure it works. And then once we get it to work and we know it works really, really well and we've kind of perfected it, then we replicate it with others who can do that task. Right. So a lot of times as an entrepreneur, that's where your sweat equity comes in. You're figuring out what's the next thing in the business, how are we going to make it work? And once it works, you can then create a system around it, hand it off to someone else in the company, and move on. Yeah,
so well, let me jump in too, because that just triggered something in my mind. Yeah, because it is invaluable for you to be able to understand fully what it is that the people you are paying are doing. I mean, that is huge, right, Troy?
Absolutely.
I've always said we hire people that are smarter than us. But the thing is, for the most part, we understand to a degree everything that's happening in our business. In fact, so much so that the pros that we hire, the smarter people than us, which actually I shouldn't do that. They are smarter than us in their stuff, right? No air quotes. Only my YouTubers saw that. A lot of times we will figure out a way to do what we want them to do a better way than what they would do it, even though they're the pros at it, right?
Right.
Especially in like a programming world.
Yeah.
So
for sure, right?
It's a valuable thing. It's a very valuable thing.
Exactly. So you asked the question, you know, what is sweat equity? Well, sweat equity is basically, it's investing your time, energy, and efforts into the business instead of just investing money into it.
Right.
Right. So instead of just going out and hiring somebody to do it, you're going to put your time, energy, and efforts into it, figure it out, and go from there. Yeah. So, you know, what are some examples of sweat equity? Trevor, I mean, we've had our business for what, 20 something years now.
Right.
What is some sweat equity that you had to put into our business?
Oh my gosh. I mean, again, knowing everything about it is really, really important. And so some of the things that we've learned over the years is like 20 years ago, we had this little templated website company that just ugly, horrifying templates of these websites. And I happened to pick up a CD. Well, Ron happened to give me a CD and say, hey, here's a couple different CDs. Do you want to learn anything about this? And I was sitting there and I thought, sure, I've got some time on my hands. Let me look at what this is. It was programming. It was CSS, HTML, Photoshop. And I started with programming. Did not like it. Did not like the programming. It was, but back 20 years ago, I mean, this was thousands of lines of code to do the stupidest little things. And it was just, I was just like, this is terrible. I like to see what I've made, and I don't want it to take 10,000 years to do it. So anyways, I jumped over into CSS and HTML. I loved that. And then with Photoshop, I learned the design side of it and really fell in love with that, because I have a naturally, I'm design oriented, right? I'm visual about everything. And so I really fell in love with that. So I learned how to build websites, and I learned how to take those templates and turn them into full-blown custom sites for our customers. And then we were able to charge way more money and grow our business very rapidly because of that. From there, and that was all just learning off of CDs, guys. I mean, a lot of people would say, well, is that the best time of your, use of your time? It was. I had extra time.
No money, absolutely.
And I had no money. We had no money, right? Yeah, so exactly. We weren't going to hire, I mean, especially back then, oh my gosh, people were super expensive just to design a site because there wasn't very many of them. Then from there, I learned how to do video. I fell in love with it. So again, I fell in love with the design. I fell in love with video. It was a necessity. We needed videos made. I started out, and again, everywhere we start, it's always crappy, and then we get better, and then we get better, and then we get better. We get better equipment. We get more confident. We know what we're doing. We edit everything better. And so I learned how to do video. Learned how to edit the videos, learned how to produce the videos and the audio and everything like that. And obviously, even just over the years that we've been doing our podcast, that's all gotten better too. I've gotten even better at it, and I enjoy it. So it's not even a chore to do. The next thing was PPC. Out of necessity, I learned how to do PPC. Troy's learned how to do PPC. He learned how to do PPC before I did, actually. But he was so busy with all this other stuff that he was doing with marketing and everything that I needed to help take it on. And then I also wanted to do it for ourselves, because again, we do everything that we do for our clients, we do for ourselves. So I really got heavy into the PPC, dove in, and then man, I'm good at it now. I pat on my own back. I'm good at it. And so it took years though, but I enjoyed it. It was fun for me to learn. And then I learned how to, and this was a hard one for me, I learned how to public speak. I was terrified. Like, if Ron was a public speaker, I grew up seeing Ron as a speaker, traveling all over the country, speaking, doing motivational speaking, doing business speaking, all these different things, firesides, all these different things, speaking to youth. And it was super cool. And I loved it. I was so proud of him. And I thought it was so cool. But if you were to ask me to stand in front of a crowd and speak, I would have spent the next hour in the bathroom. I would never. I was like terrified to do it until one day I realized, a lot of times when we work through our weaknesses, we then can shine and grow so much. So I just forced myself to do it. I had learned how. I'd seen Ron doing it forever. And so I did it and moved forward. And from there, what was great is, and then Troy, you started to speak. And that's not Troy's forte either. I mean, he's an introvert. I'm an extrovert, but he's an introvert. And neither one of us loved it. But we did it. And then we got good at it. And then we started to love it. And it took hours of practice and standing in front of the, first you just do your presentation. Then you stand in front of the mirror. And then, once you've done it in front of the mirror without laughing at yourself for looking like an idiot and got it better, then you move on and you do it in front of like a spouse or a family member. And then from there, you do it in front of a crowd. So again, lots of effort, time, energy, sweat equity, but we got really good at it. And that blew us up. I mean, Troy was going to different events. I was going to different events. Ron was going to different events back before he retired years ago. And we were just killing it and crushing all these events. So again, it grew our business so big. But had I never done that, that may have just died off. Because Ron was really the guy that did it. Troy didn't want to do it either, and neither did I. And so, but me forcing myself to do it, and then Troy was like, yeah, this works really good. And Troy's a phenomenal speaker. Way better than I am. Okay. Way better.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's awesome. A lot of you have heard him speak and you know it. So from there, I learned how to produce our podcast. I mean, systems and programs, editing, how to get it out there, the right bit rates, you got to put it out there, all of the different things. And it took time, but that has really helped. I mean, all of you listeners out there are learning from our podcast, and it's become a joy. It's something we really love doing. And then from there,
by the way, a little plug there to Trevor. We just got, the podcast got added to Amazon Prime and also to Audible. So you can now get the podcast in Audible, which is awesome.
That is freaking amazing. That's freaking amazing, people. Amazon Music, right? And then Audible.
Amazon Music,
Amazon Music and Audible. Audible, I feel like that's huge. That is huge right there. And the thing is that you've got to get invited to do these things, right? Get into some of these ones. And the reason is, I mean, how long did we start our YouTube channel? Not very long ago did we start our YouTube channel. You guys heard me saying like, hey, we're up to like 100 subscribers. You know, now we're well over 2,000 subscribers on YouTube alone. And so that's going really well. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. It's been great. But on our podcast side, we had been doing that for a lot longer than the YouTube side. And that blew up and went to thousands and thousands. And it was super cool to see where we would be like in the top 10 for the whole country. Because there's these websites that track you and everything. And so and it goes up and down, right? So, but it's awesome. We've had such a good time. Thank you for that plug, because that's really exciting about Audible. I'm a huge Audible guy. And then the last thing for me was social media. I learned how to do social media, and I went through the different social medias. I started with one and kind of figured out what I should be doing there, grew us to thousands of followers there. Then I started with the next one and the next one. And I remember it's funny, I said to Troy, I said, hey, I'm going to start building our Instagram. And Troy's like, why? Why? And I said, well, Troy, Facebook, I've grown it to thousands. We have these different pages and different groups, and I've grown that to thousands of followers, and that's where our people are at. But Instagram is where the younger generation is. And that younger generation is going to grow up. And I want to be in front of them when they get there, right? And what's crazy is, as big as we grew Facebook, I want to say we're close to like 10,000 followers somewhere on between the different pages and stuff on Facebook. Yeah. Instagram right now, which I didn't start that long ago. I mean, just maybe a couple years. And this is the thing, this is why it's like you just start with stuff, and nobody was an overnight success. They started with stuff, they learned stuff, they got better at it. We're over 22,000 followers now on Instagram, which is
that's awesome.
Freaking awesome, right? So that's really exciting. So anyways, these are things that not only, and here's a key factor is, I spent my sweat equity, time, energy, and efforts, because I didn't really want to pay somebody else. And plus, if I was going to pay somebody else, which we have over the years, and they didn't do a good job. And you know, the reason I was able to know that they didn't do a good job was because I knew what I was doing. And so, and there wasn't results. Like the results were always better when I was doing it anyways. So, but the point was that I knew. And so when they would go in and do stuff, I was like, wait, why did you do that? Why didn't you do it like this? And they were like, well, and I'm like, get out of here. So, but I also enjoyed learning how to do these things. And I think that's really key.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's the thing, you know, again, you got to learn these things. And once you master these things, sure, you might be able to hand those tasks off to somebody else at some point. But once you've got the knowledge, you can make sure that your business is going to be successful. Yeah. You know, so like for one of the things for us, like one of the things I did right off the bat was I had to learn billing. I had to learn how to collect money from customers, make sure we got paid, you know, so that we could actually put food in the mouths of our kids. Yep. I had to learn the bookkeeping. I had to learn the accounting, make sure that, you know, all the operational stuff, none of the, you know, it's not sexy. It's none of the sexy stuff, right? But it's the stuff that keeps the business rolling every single day. I had to learn all of that, you know, and then from a marketing perspective, we wanted to branch out into other forms of marketing. So I had to learn, you know, local listing marketing, content marketing, you know, SEO and all those things. And I learned all those things up front. And then like now we have an SEO team that does SEO work, right? For our clients.
But Troy understands it.
Exactly. Because I understand exactly what they should be doing. And I know when they're doing a good job and when they're not doing a good job. Yep. Right. And I can direct them on what they need to do. So, you know, it's really important to learn those things, right? So that you can be successful. And again, I don't do the SEO work anymore in the company. I have the team to do it, but I can manage the team because I have that knowledge. And we'll continue to do that. The other thing, another big part of it for us was, you know, learning the numbers. You know, learning what numbers we need to watch in the business to know whether we're being successful or not. And learning ROI and all these things that we teach you. You know, we had to learn those things first to make the business successful. So, you know,
and I hated numbers.
Some of the areas.
I got to say, I did. I hated numbers. I think a lot of entrepreneurs do. Like I hated the numbers at first. But once I started seeing the results of understanding and knowing the numbers, I got excited. I got obsessed with it. Troy was the numbers man. I was like, I just want to spend the money, man. I just want to like, let's just do this, you know, and everything. He's like, wait, well, hold on, you know? And once I understood the numbers though, I was like, oh, this is phenomenal. I can't move forward with something until I know what the numbers are.
Yeah, exactly. So those are just a couple of areas that you can look at for sweat equity in your business. And again, your business might be different. Your sweat equity might be, you know, working on the truck. It might be figuring out new processes, you know, to get your carpets clean or get the windows clean, or, you know, it may not be marketing or operations. Right. But you learn those things first, you perfect them, you master them, and then you can teach people to do them.
Yep.
So, all right, Trevor, let's get into the homework. We have homework, and we have 2 different homeworks for different types of business owners.
Yeah. So if you're a solo entrepreneur, you're wearing all the hats, you're doing everything. What can you do or learn next to grow your business? What is it that you could be spending? YouTube is a great resource, guys, to learn things. There's also a website called lynda.com. You can pay for their service, and it is college professors who make these courses on almost anything you want to learn, if you're wanting to learn online stuff, right? Obviously. But YouTube, for like working on the truck and doing all these things, YouTube is a phenomenal way to do this. So spend the time, and what is something that you can learn next that can help grow your business or improve it or whatever that is. And then if you have a team, what can you take off of your plate and give to another team member so that you can learn the next thing? So take something that you're currently doing that, you know, maybe you could just push it over to this person, let them do it, which would then free up your time to allow you to learn something new to then help keep continuing to grow your business. Okay? That's it. Troy, anything else?
No, that's it. That's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We love you. The support has been amazing. We love doing this. We've said this all the time. We say it all the time. It's a passion of ours. It's for fun. This does not produce us $1. It's a time. In fact, actually, it sucks up some of our time, but we enjoy doing it because we enjoy getting the feedback from people who have implemented the things that we're doing and talking about, and their businesses are growing. And it's just awesome. Warms our hearts. So we will catch you guys on the next episode of SoTellUs Time.